Welcome to Roll for Geekiness. Jay and G here, and we haven't brought you a NERF Arsenal update in almost 3 years.
Yeah, that's a long time.
There's good reasons for it.
Yes.
The last one we did was in January of 2019. Facing you, I'm talking to you. It's conversation. January of 2019. And that was right after we had started seriously collecting and started doing some mods. I think our modded blasters that we shared in that video that were done were really we'd remove some resistors and some internal switches from some electronic blasters.
Yeah.
We'd removed a few ARs from some springers. We had the one spring upgrade in our super old Alpha Trooper.
Yeah, we don't use that.
Yeah, we don't. So we just kind of started getting started. In the rest of 2019, not only did we do a whole bunch more mods, but our collection at least doubled in size.
Yeah.
You know, there were a few blasters that we really wanted to get our hands on, like Raven and Desolator and a few other things that I focused on trying to get our hands on. Picked up a whole bunch more stuff up on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and I think that may have been when I learned about shopgoodwill.com.
And since we have so many more blasters, we're obviously not going to show all of them. That would take a really long time. We're just going to mainly show our modded blasters.
That's also why we didn't make a 2020 video.
Yeah.
The 2019 video, that was half the library floor, and when it came around to January of 2020 and we said it's been a year again, we went, but there's nowhere in the house where we can spread everything out.
Yeah.
and go through it anymore. So we kind of went, we're not sure how we want to format this video, and eventually it just became meh, I guess we won't do one for now.
Yeah.
And yeah, in beginning of 2021, it was kind of yeah, we weren't feeling it. But here we are now.
Yes.
And it's almost the end of 2021. And now, as you can see behind us, I built 2 of these racks this year so that we can kind of display some of the blasters we use a lot, or use often. Kind of want to show off. So we'll show off this rack too, but as you can see behind us, these are all modded, with the exception of that rough cut right there. That one's just got a paint job.
The one.
We've shared a lot of the builds, or particularly I remember sharing a whole bunch of photos of the build on this Vulcan mod and of the Strifle. I shared a whole bunch of the photos of those mods up on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we need to go through those. And even photos of a lot of these have made it up on to our social media as they've been in progress.
There are some blasters that aren't up on this wall, or at least on this side of the wall that we use, that being a Nexus on the other side, and a couple others.
So yeah, we can flip this around and show that off too. So, and what you're actually not seeing the bottom part of this rack. There's a whole bunch of drawers down here that have all the mags, accessories, ammunition. These are fun. And if we spin this around, you'll see G's Nexus, our Aeon, and most of our Rival.
Yeah, a good amount of them.
Most of the Rival, not all of the Rival.
Yeah, definitely not all, but.
And the twin to this rack lives out in the garage, where it is accessible for our neighborhood NERF battles. And let's see, one whole side of that is stock electronic blasters. There's 3 strifes, 4 rapid strikes, a couple regulators, a couple barricades, a couple demolishers. What else is up there? Can't even remember. And if you flip it around, there's all the stock springers, retaliators, cyclone shocks,
Is the Rotofury still up there? Or?
No, Rotofury's in the studio because it's going to get a paint job soon.
Yep.
Yeah, so all that stuff is stock. Right, not even going to include that in this video. And then there are boxes and drawers full of other stuff that will probably get modded at various points. And then, like we said, this whole rack is on wheels so that it can spin.
It can spin. It is a bit slow and clunky, but bear with us.
Are you calling me slow and clunky?
No, I'm saying the movement.
Calling me slow and clunky. Ta-da! A couple Nemesises, Artemis, Hades, Perseus.
A Hera and a Helios.
Handy Dandy Kronos.
Yes. And Nexus. The Nexus I've been wanting to paint like the Medusa Nebula. I think that'd be interesting. In that process I'll be learning airbrushing, which I think will be fun and a cool skill to use in the future.
Mm-hmm. See, kids, there's educational aspects to this hobby. Since we've taken up NERF modding, you've learned how to solder.
Yep.
And soon you'll be learning how to airbrush.
Yep.
Skills. So we're going to talk real quick about what some of these mods are anyway.
Yeah, like a quick overview of them.
Yep, alright. So where should we start?
Let's start at the bottom.
Ooh, the Vulcan. The Vulcan was a fun little mod that I had in mind for a while. I always liked the box sticking out of the side. Felt like this looked very much like a saw squad automatic weapon, but it had the wrong grip. The Vulcan has that like joystick type grip on the back, so I cut that off. Put on the back end of a Recon.
As you can see there,
And this puppy actually takes both a 3S LiPo, which runs the stock internals. I did not mess around with the stock motors or anything like that. That's a nice self-contained unit. And a couple other people that have modded this have said that it tends to handle the 3S just fine. So I figured no point in messing with that. But I also added a 2S LiPo, which powers an afterburner right
around.
a little higher, in line with the barrel. Yeah, it's up in there. Which is, that's a stock rapid strike cage up in there, and that's running on a separate 2S. So the original internals are basically just pushing the darts into the afterburner. I like the nice belt-fed machine gun feel on this one, but it's a little inconsistent, so I need to do some performance tweaking on it still. But I think I'm happy with it generally. Will I run it in a war? No, loading those chains is a pain in the butt, but it's fun. The Strifle.
Okay, so
yeah. I got the Strifle. That one took me a little while.
Yeah.
And I shared a lot of the step-by-steps on that one on our Instagram. So you might recognize the strife in the middle there. So this is built on a strife in the middle here.
Right around here-ish.
With your Recon / Retaliator barrel out here and an underslung Magnus. There's a lot of 3D printed parts in this. They all come from a Hedrian on Thingiverse. Like, sweet kit, dude. And a lot of people have built these. It's called the Strifle.
Yep.
I'm running mine on a 3S, which is why you see the expanded battery tray, because I also put a worker full auto kit in that Strife. This blaster is great for suppression fire. And the Magnus Master Key is great against shields. This blaster is a blast to run.
So next we got our double strikes. This is mine. We painted them up and did barrel shrouds on both. Mine is more of a real steel or apocalyptic look. There it is. And then this is Jay's, so it's more a sci-fi look that he went with here. And yet again, a barrel shroud and painted. Yeah, and that's it for our double strikes.
Yeah, so if you're looking at the blasters, you can kind of tell whose are whose, because we did keep a consistent language in the paint jobs. G likes the gray with the teal diagonal striping. Mine is usually gray with some variation on the metallic blue striping. So you can kind of tell whose blasters are whose just by glancing at them. Not that keeps us from swapping them around every once in a while. But.
Yeah. So now we got our fire strike. Well, this was...
We're Night Finder. Most people will recognize it as a Night Finder.
Oh, I said fire strike.
You did say fire strike, because it is the fire strike. Remember, we just rewatched our 2019 video to be like, where were we when we last did one of these videos? And this one was one we talked about at the end, because this one was on our workbench at the time, and we talked about how this was originally the Dart Tag Fire Strike.
Yeah.
And then the model was then renamed as the Night Finder later. And you might remember this whole part of that blaster was totally messed up.
So we added a flashlight here, like actual good flashlight. And then if you notice, it's small in the trigger, but right around here we have a 3D printed button, which if you press in, my hand's in the way, will turn on the very bright light, as you can see here, very bright.
Yeah, that's an 80 lumen flashlight in there, tactical light in there.
Yeah. Otherwise, it is pretty much a normal Night Finder or Fire Strike function-wise.
And we painted this up during the virtual Foam Fest mod party like 2 years ago, and posted the pictures just before the Elite 2.0 Ion. Is that what their version is with the built-in flashlight?
Yeah, they did a similar trigger to us, so it's kind of like they did it after us. They stole their idea, even though it's been done before.
NERF copied us. No,
it didn't, but... Yeah, so that's that. Next we got Jay's rough cut, so it's basically just repainted. Otherwise it's a normal rough cut.
Yeah, I debated spring upgrades, but not for now.
The Decidator. We both love this one.
Yes.
Okay, so next is Jay's Desolator. We both use this one and love it. Actually, I'm going to end up doing my own Desolator at some point.
That's on the bench right now, actually.
Yeah.
Yep. That's sitting in the studio right now. So this is 2S rebuild. I mean, it's almost your typical Strife rebuild. We're running Michel 2s in the stock flywheel cage even. 3D printed mag release. And I fixed the grip. You know, a lot of people comment on the fact that the grip is you've got a really, really short length of pull in here. So I took some epoxy and kind of beefed that out to make a much more comfortable grip for that. You can almost say this one's molded to my hand. And we'll do the same thing for G's. Voltmeters on this side, and otherwise it's pretty straightforward rebuild.
Yep. Okay, so this is my Rapid Strike. So as you can see, it has the teal and light gray stripes that tend to be on my blasters. So this takes a 3S LiPo in the front, where the normal battery would be. We removed the battery shell almost.
The tray, yeah.
Yeah, the tray. So there's a lot of stuff to say about this one. So our mag, we got a 3D printed mag release right here, so that's extended. We used some thumb screws to make the 3S more accessible.
Yeah, we've put thumb screws on all of our blasters so that we don't need to bust all of our electronic blasters, so that we don't have to need a screwdriver to pull the batteries in and out.
Yeah. So what fly goes to? Yeah. So the voltmeter's right here.
Yeah, I designed the 3D printed shroud for that. So that was fun. You've got the worker accurate wheels in there actually with a worker cage. So what'll be interesting is I'm in the process of building one of these too because this is such a fun blaster.
Yeah.
But mine's going to be running the stock wheel and cages. So it's going to be interesting to see how Valkyries with the worker cage and wheels versus Valkyries with the stock cage and wheels changes the performance. And then we're running a Kraken in the pusher. Yeah. So that's getting 8 darts a second, I think we calculated.
Yeah, we were able to empty the Titan's 50 round mag in like 7 point something seconds. Or was it 8?
It was 6 point something seconds.
Oh, wow.
So it was slightly less than 7 seconds.
I think it was 6.8 seconds. It actually managed to empty the entire Titan 50 round drum.
Both hilarious and absurd to watch that.
Yeah, so, yeah. This is my dart hose, kind of like Jay's Strifle. I actually really like it, especially since I can feather the trigger and get only 1 or 2 darts at a time.
This is my Magnus. There are many like it, but this one's mine.
Yes.
This one I'll keep as a sidearm, holstered usually in the back or something, in case we need Megas for a scenario. I tried to do some internal performance mods on this one. The AR was removed. I think I tried to do something to fill in some of the dead space in the plunger tube as well, if I remember right. And the performance on this is pretty much still the same as stock, so meh. But it does have some internal mods to it. I think this was our proof that internal mods on the Magnus were not horribly successful in general. They don't do much for performance, but that's my Magnus.
Yep.
Demolisher. Yeah, I wanted to try a totally different paint job on this one. I wanted to go with a completely different, like super chipped up paint job on this one. I do like the way it came out, especially over a bright color. I wanted to do it with a nice bright red. I'll probably try to do another one of these with like a yellow at some point to see how it looks.
Yeah, like a construction look almost.
Kinda, yeah. We went with a battery stock on this one because rather than trying to extend the standard battery tray for 2S. Again, this is it's a 2S build, nothing too special about it. Kept the stock cage wheels still for now. Maybe that'll get an upgrade. We improved the hamp a little bit, as one often does, improve the seal in here. And yeah, actually where the battery tray is where the voltmeter lives on this one, where the old in the old battery tray.
Okay. So this is my Turbo Advance. It is mainly just painted up. We put a lot of detail into this paint job. The main difference we have is we put a elite stock attachment point here, so it could put on different stocks. Because normally it doesn't have a stock point, so it's more like this. I like having it shouldered just with the way it works.
Yeah, usually like a Raider stock on that, right?
Yeah.
Right. The other fun thing, and I still may put these files up on Thingiverse at some point, is we replace these completely useless scales on the side with actual pick rail on both sides. So we could put lights or something on that for some like HVZ night scenario or something like that.
That would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is my Raven yet again with my paint style.
Another platform we both like, so.
Yeah. I wanted to try out a bullpup blaster, so I felt this was good since I also didn't have a semi-auto blaster either. So we got an extended battery tray for a
2S. This one's still running 2S.
For a 2S LiPo. We 3D printed a flared magwell, so it's a bit easier to reload.
Mm-hmm. And the extended mag release.
Yep. Right there, it's actually much bigger.
And the pick rail.
Yep, we also put some pick rail on. What internals is this running?
That's running Michel 2.0s on a stock cage and wheels. Yeah, and then like you said, everything else is modded up to run on 2S. The voltmeter is on this side, on the stock, so it's easy to check it.
Yep, since I'd be having it like this, so I can just peek over. Another reason why I like this, just the way it fits in the shoulder, so it's good for that. I did actually add a master. We did a master key for this one. Here it is in all. So we have a recon/retaliator barrel right here with the magnets attached, as most master keys we have, and just in general do. So this is the overall form of it. I actually quite like it. It still is pretty mobile, though not as much as it without the master key. But obviously you get all the advantages of Mega, such as shield breakers, and if there's special units in an HVZ scenario. Yeah, so that's my Raven. And that is our entire wall right here.
Alright, so like I think we said in there, like we definitely teased a few of the upcoming projects, right? Like I'm doing a Rapid Strike, she's doing a Desolator, you mentioned a Roto Fury at some point in this last little discussion, which is getting painted up so that I have a nice big Mega Blaster for End War next year. You're painting up a Cyclone Shock so that you have something similar. What else? What else? Oh, Your Sweet Revenge. Oh, and my Hammer Shot. My Hammer Shot's being painted right now. It's up on the bench in parts.
And I have a Sweet Revenge that is going to be painted at some point somewhat soon. Neither of these were shown in the video.
Because they're literally in the studio right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those are typically our sidearms. I usually holster mine on my off side so that I can draw it as a holdout when my primary runs out. You're talking about holstering yours on the other side now.
Possibly.
You've kind of played around with both configurations, but
I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, we'll see how that pans out. What else? What else is on the bench?
Your Retaliator.
My Retaliator, that's right.
Okay.
Hedrian did the Magnus shotgun mod, and then later did the Retaliator shotgun mod based on that. I'm working on the Retaliator version, so that I've got a high-powered Springer. That one's going to be running a 9 kg spring, I think.
Pretty solid.
Solid, and still in the right FPS range for HVZ, so.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's everything that's in parts upstairs right now.
And with FPS for HVZ, we did actually use out of darts for the Nexus. Sorry, for the Nexus, we use out of darts stock thing to change the size of the plunger tube so it'd either be weaker or stronger. We moved it to the 100 FPS so that it would be legal for most HVZ scenarios, and also a bit easier to prime.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably worth noting. I mean, HVZ has been our target for all of these blasters. So all of these are coming in under 120 FPS. We're not trying to do the super high FPS mods that some performance modders are doing, because we're not playing that game. So, I mean, kudos people who are, like, nothing against it. That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. So anyway, that's where we're at. Figured it was time to share where we're at.
Yeah.
Since it's been a few years, and
obviously plenty of blasters here, all painted up and good for use.
Yes, we've come a long way since the last Arsenal video, and it was time to share a new one.
Yeah.
So there you go. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.